Hello friends, I'm Narendra Verma once again before you. As you know very well, in business study for class 12 CBSE syllabus, we have been dealing with the chapter number 6, that is staffing, right? And in today's session, what we are going to learn? Types of training methods, right? So without wasting much time, let's start. So broadly, methods of training can be divided into two categories, right? What are these categories? On the job training and off the job training. I just write down. Okay, on the job means when an employee is on the job, at that time, if he is getting any kind of training, that training comes under this category, right? And what does the meaning of off the job? Off the job means when the trainee is taken away from the office place or workplace to some other place just to provide training. Right, so that training will be known as off the job training. Means at that time the candidate is not working, he is just learning. Okay, but here what happens, the candidate does two of the things simultaneously. He works as well as gets training. Okay, so here the principle is applied, learning while doing. Means the candidate who is a trainee, he himself is learning as well as doing the job. So learning by doing. Understood the point? And here the principle is followed, learning before doing. Means such kind of trainings generally are conducted before the job is provided to the employee. Means when they are actually put to work, before that their training is conducted. Understood the point? Okay, so that is the basic difference. Okay, and according to this, we are going to put the various types of training. Okay, so in your syllabus there are only 4 types of training. Okay, 2 under this category and 2 under this category. I just write down. So here it is. Under this category, on the job training, we are going to learn apprenticeship training and internship training. Okay. And in this category, we are going to learn induction training and vestibule training. Let me tell you one more thing. There are numerous types of training under this category as well as under this category. But these are not the part of your syllabus. That's why we are not going to have discussion here. Okay, understood the point? But before we learn about these types of training, we need to learn the difference between on the job training and off the job training in detail. However, I have explained the meaning of both of them, but even then we need to know the difference in detail, because sometimes this is also asked in the exams. So from exam point of view, it becomes important to have detailed discussion about it. Alright, so let's start. So difference between on the job training and off the job training methods. So there are few bases on which these two methods have been compared. The very first base is meaning. Already I have explained you the meaning. It is being repeated here. Let's read it. So on the job training methods refer to methods in which training is provided at the workplace. Means the employee is kept at the office or at the workplace. He is not taken away to any other place. But under off the job training methods, what happened? In these methods, the training is provided away from the job. Means employee is taken away from the actual workplace and at some other place where he is not performing the activity, he is trained, right? The second base is principle adopted. So under on the job training method, what kind of principle is adopted? Already I explained you, learning while doing. Means the employee is doing the job as well as learning. Both the things are going simultaneously. But under off the job training methods, the principle adopted is that learning before doing. So while the candidate is getting training, he is only learning. He is not performing any activity. Okay, so that is what the difference. The third base is place of training. So it's already clear point. Employees are trained at their workplace. So under on the job training method, what happens? They are trained at the same workplace. They are not taken away to any other place. But under off the job training method, the employees are trained away from their actual workplace. They are taken to some other place and then they are provided the training. Fourth base is suitability. So, on the job training methods are more suitable for technical jobs because the technicalities cannot be learnt only by telling, okay, or only by watching the movie, films, or listening to lectures. These technicalities are learnt while observing somebody performing those activities or those technicalities for a longer period. Okay, only then a person learns how to do that. Okay, and if we talk about off the job training method, these are suitable for managerial jobs in which the management has to be seen, but this is there generally. Okay, not always. Fifth base is trainers. So employees are trained by experienced workers and especially qualified instructor. So under on the job training methods, what happened? The trainees get training through experienced worker, means senior workers are there who become the guide for those. Okay, or some specially qualified instructors are called to train the employees. But under this off the job training method, academicians, professionals, and technicians are called to train the employees, right? Examples, what can be the example of on the job training methods? Already I have told you apprenticeship training, internship training, etc. And for off the job training methods, vestibular training, induction training, etc. Alright, this was all about the difference between on the job training method and off the job training method. Alright, now let's move further. So after knowing the difference between the on-the-job training and off-the-job training methods, we need to have discussion about the various types of training, right? So let's start. But before I proceed further, let me tell you something about training. There are two aspects of training. One, trainer, and another is training, right? The person who gets training is known as trainee, and the person who provides training is known as a trainer. Okay, so here we'll be having our employee, candidate, understood, and here whoever is the instructor, guide, coach, okay, he will be the trainer, understood the point. Fine, now let's start. Very first type of training is apprenticeship training. Okay, apprenticeship training, what is all about? Actually, what happens under this method, the trainee is kept under the guidance of some master trainer or master worker who is his senior, who is more experienced and expert in his field. Okay, so newly joined candidate is kept under him for a few months, few weeks, right, for a prescribed period, right? Okay, and at that point of time he is learning as well as doing a job. Okay, but he is not provided the full salary at that point of time because he is learning more and performing less, because every time this trainer needs to guide him, help him out. Okay, he needs to inform how the things are done. He does the things on his own, and then while observation he learns, right? So in that duration this trainee does not get a proper salary. On the name of remuneration he is provided a fixed amount that is known as stipend. Okay, that is generally very less amount. Fine, because he is not giving the full services, he is there in the learning stage, that is why some amount is paid, that is known as stipend. Okay, and these kind of trainings are designed to acquire higher level of skills, right, which is not easy to learn soon. Until unless a person spends a limited time, a limited period to learn that particular skills, he cannot learn so. I would like to give you an example of train running. There are two persons sitting there in the engine cabin. Okay, these are loco pilot and assistant loco pilot. Loco pilot is the main driver of the train. He runs the train, he controls everything, right? And the assistant loco pilot for a few months or years remains as a trainee under him, right? He observes the jobs. Okay, he notices how the loco pilot is running the train, how he's behaving, what kind of steps in typical situations he's taking. Okay, and he's learning. By and by, when the assistant loco pilot also becomes experienced, he gets promoted and he also gets a chance to run the train. Okay, so this is the way to train, because these things cannot be taught without keeping him in the actual environment. Okay, so such kind of training is generally provided in the technician jobs, okay, in the technical fields, like, or we can say the skilled trades like electricians, plumbers, okay, and carpenters. I would like to give you one more ground level example that you must have also observed. Okay, you must have seen there is the mechanic shop, okay, which is being run by the owner who himself is the mechanic, who has been doing the mechanic job of the vehicles for many years. Now, as many people come to his shop who join new, okay, initially what happens, the newly joined candidates observe him while performing the job. Okay, whenever he is operating any engine of any vehicle, then they observe, because that is the more sophisticated task and higher level of skills are needed. If anything goes wrong, then they are responsible. Fine. So they keep on observing it. Okay, by and by, when they become experienced in that field, then that newly joined candidates also become experienced and they also start operating in the same manner. Right. So this is the way to train. Fine. So the same happens in the electricity jobs, okay, plumbing jobs, because there are various kind of skills which need to be developed, and these cannot be developed until unless a person observes and learns through some master worker. So that is why this training is arranged. This is very much popular and common training provided in the various organizations, right? That is why we are having discussion here. Okay, one more thing let me tell you. Under this training, the trainee is known as apprentice. That is why it becomes apprenticeship. Understood? Now let's move on to another method of training. So the next type of training is internship training. Actually, this is a kind of joint program between some educational institutions and business enterprises. Okay, what happens? There is a kind of tie-up between the business enterprises and the educational institutions, or maybe possible that the student himself has to find some kind of business enterprise similar to his profile so that he can go there and learn the practical knowledge. Actually, this kind of training generally aims at reducing the gap between the theoretical and practical learning. Okay, and generally it is provided in the professional courses like MBA, BTech, okay, and the courses related to hotel management, okay, and other hospitalities, tourism, etc., where the jobs of the candidates is directly related to the profession. So what happens in the final year or in the last semester, students are asked to complete their internship training, and for the same, either the educational institution or the candidate himself has to arrange some business enterprise. They have to have some contacts, and then the business organizations allow the student for a particular period to come and notice the work in actual environment. Okay, so this really helps a student to learn the gaps between theoretical and practical knowledge. Okay, practically he experiences everything. Whatever he learned in the books, now he is observing. He learns what are the gaps, what are the lacunas. Okay, so this is done, and maybe possible it is not necessary all the time, but business enterprise may provide some stipend to these candidates as well. Okay, generally this is known as summer training in the MBA. Okay, or in BTech also they have to complete some certificate course and all, but the organization have to provide the certificate to these interns. Okay, like they have completed their internship in this organization from this period to that period, and the job is satisfactory, we just wish for his better prospective career, etc. So a kind of certificate is given, and that is very much necessary for them to complete their course or degree. Okay, so, and sometimes what happens when the business organization observes that the intern is very much knowledgeable and can be useful further in the organization, then they select the candidate at that time as well. Simultaneously he has to complete his course and his job is ready, right? So this is also very much popular and common training exercised by the organizations. In hotel management, in tourism field, these are very much common. Even in the medical field, these are common. Understood the point? But where these are applicable in the field of particular professionals. Alright. Now let's move on to another method of training. So apprenticeship training and internship training, these both are belonging to the category of on-the-job training. A candidate learns while doing the job, right? Okay, and this induction training is belonging to this off-the-job training. So right now we are going to have discussion about the induction training. Okay, induction training is similar to the orientation that we have already learned. This is also known as orientation training. Okay, in this generally what happens, the newly joined candidate is introduced to the rules and regulation of the business enterprises, okay, and the staff of the enterprises and the surroundings of the enterprises. Okay, so this training aims to familiarize the new candidate, okay, as well as teach him how to work. Okay, so when a candidate goes through this training, then he comes to know about these strategies and performance of the business enterprise. Then he starts making planning so that he can also start working in the same manner. Okay, so this is a kind of opportunity for a new employee to get socialized with the other candidates already working there, or with the system which is being applicable there, or with the activities being operated there. Okay, so this kind of training is very much useful in case of industrial workers. Okay, because workers need to operate the machineries. Okay, the sophisticated machines less with the advanced technologies are there in the organization until unless a new candidate is trained about operation of those, then definitely organization is going to suffer a lot, as well as the employee. Okay, so that is why in case of industrial workers it is very much useful, but I'm not saying that only for industrial worker it is arranged. It can be arranged for any kind of employee, but it is more useful there, because just due to that their effectiveness and efficiency increases. Okay, one more thing, let me tell you how it is conducted. Okay, it is because at this time the candidate is not working, he is just listening and learning. Okay, a kind of presentation is given to the employee. Maybe possible he is made sit in some room in which a kind of movie related to the achievements of the organization, rules of the organization, and the introduction of the staff and other senior members, board directors, etc. is going on. Okay, so a candidate comes to know about the organization and its system through some presentation, film, lectures, etc. Right? So in that way it is provided, and this training may go on for a few hours, or it can be extended for a few days as well. Right? So that goes on in that manner. Okay, induction means just to give the startup. Okay, so this is a kind of training for the same, so that some kind of boost up the new employee gets and he gets started. Okay, that is what the basic purpose behind this kind of training. So this is again very much popular and common training. Okay, now let's move on to another type of training. So another type of training is festival training. This is again very much popular and unique kind of training. Like I told you, this is under the category of off-the-job training method. So this training is also arranged out of the environment of the office. Okay, actually what happens, the employee is taken away from the actual workplace, and wherever he is taken, at that particular place a duplicate of actual environment is created. A kind of classroom or school is created, which is often known as vestibule schools or vestibule centers, or just like vestibules, you can say that. Okay, so the big organizations can spend a lot, and they have to continually keep providing the same kind of training to various kind of people again and again. So they maintain a particular center especially for this, okay, which are known as vestibules. Okay, so at those center what happens, the actual work environment is created duplicately, okay, which helps a candidate to learn, right? And this method of training is applied in case of sophisticated machines and very expensive kind of equipment. Okay, because if the candidates are directly put on the job, okay, and if they start operating those machines, and by the malhandling, if any of the machine goes out of order or any other kind of problem is created, then organization is going to suffer more than they could have saved by providing the training to the people by creating the duplicate environment. So the organization has to see. Now you can understand, when the organization is creating the duplicate environment, it is going to cost a lot, but still it is saving its cost. Why? Because if they bear the loss of making the machines and equipment going out of order, okay, they are saving their money in comparison to that. Okay, so that is done in that case. A workplace environment similar to actual kind of environment is created. Okay, and for a few days or few months or few weeks, the candidate is kept there. Okay, and there is some instructor or guide or trainer, they keep informing them about the particular activities, how the things are going to happen. Okay, so in that way the candidate is going to get a training about the actual environment, okay, being away from the actual environment. Understood the point? So this is about this kind of training. Alright friends, so this was about the 4 methods of training under the syllabus of class 12 as per CBSE. Okay, but like I told you, there are various other methods. Okay, you can Google and come to know about them. Okay, learn more, explore more. So this is all for today. Very soon I am going to meet you in the another video. Till then, thank you. Bye bye.